The distinction between the explicit and implicit meanings is also at the core of semantics and pragmatics. Let's now talk about it. The pragmatists are usually concerned with the implicit meanings, and they are concerned with the cases where the speaker's intended meanings are different from the meanings of those words, or the literal meanings of those words which they use to complete their conversation or convey their intended meanings. And such conversation involves both implicit and explicit meanings. Those meanings which are actually not said but meant are the implicit meanings, and those literal meanings of the words which are chosen by any speaker in any situations, those are the explicit meanings. Both implicit and explicit meanings are different from each other. We have already talked about it. But this suggests that there are certain shared principles or pragmatic principles which usually the hearer and the speaker share with each other. And based on these principles, they could draw something from the implicit meanings. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for the listener to understand the implicit meaning of the speaker. That's why pragmatists are usually concerned with the determination of the nature and extent of such pragmatic principles and rules which help them understand implicit meanings. And they keep on wondering about various aspects of human communication in order to answer various questions, including the one, why speakers rely so much on implicit meaning. One possible answer to this question is that implicit meanings are usually attractive, and they make our conversation or exchanges more interesting. Let's consider an example here. If you look at the text in front of you, you will see John, who has been working all day, is observed still working late at night. And in this situation, you try and say John is machine. What do you do here? You try to create an implicit meaning. You do not actually give John the identity of machine. Rather, you are trying to work on some striking similarities between the human being known as John in this example and the machine. Machine keeps on working without any complaint, and so probably John is also working in a similar fashion or continuously. In this example, we can see our knowledge about the nature of people and machine lead us to conclude or understand that the knowledge of truth conditions or the knowledge of the truth value of this statement that John is machine may not be enough to understand the complete meanings of this statement. This statement may not be true on its face. For example, John cannot be machine in any situation. John is a human being. But when we say John is machine, we try to create a similarity between the working patterns of John and the machine. And we do not aim to change the identity of John with the machine. So that's what is at the core of implicit meanings. We need to see what kind of similarities is being created between what is said and what is meant, and in which situation it is being done. Where there is a difference between implicit and explicit meanings, we always see that implicit meanings are deep, and they always convey more than what literal meanings usually convey. Literal meanings sometimes underdetermines the meaning conveyed. That's why Levinson argues that the need to articulate spoken language in a certain situation or in order to create certain idea, this creates an encoding bottleneck. That means that we have to go through a rigorous process of encoding the meaning in various ways in order to convey our complete meanings. The solution to this problem, or to find a way out, is that we have to carry meaning on the top of meaning. That means we have to carry implicit meaning on the top of explicit meaning. Explicit meanings are always within the language, but when we try to create a special meaning in a certain situation, we try to add implicit meaning in a different way. This is to communicate both implicitly and explicitly. The distinction between explicit and implicit is very interesting and is central to various discussions in semantics and pragmatics. But there is no clear-cut answer to this. This point is still debatable in the subject of semantics and pragmatics.